Hi there, Adapters. Here we are at the Urban Living Festival, Canary Wharf, London. I'm here with Natalia, living hospitality concepts with LaSalle. And I understand that you've got a portfolio of 100 to 130 buildings that your team manages.
Pretty much. We don't necessarily look at buildings, we look at the value. So within also like one of the largest institutional capitals globally, but my role is European. So yes, across different pools of funds and capital, it's about 140 roughly buildings.
Yes.
Although we look at beds, we look at value. So it's about just over £3 billion worth of value that these buildings generate.
That's a lot of value, 3 billion.
Across different, not just
Yes.
one fund, so that's important, yeah, but just across different clients.
Okay, so when we think about adaptation and innovation in this broad space, I understand there's approximately 90 assets that you have that are in the hotel category, roughly. Okay, where are you seeing adaptation and innovation, and does anybody understand the difference?
Very good question. I think you tackle the whole fundamental issue. I think who's innovating, who's adapting, and what is the outcome, what's the purpose of what we're doing and what we're creating. So obviously, raving that we are quite a proactive asset managers. That within it's not just me, it's the team. We try to look up for new solutions, new tech, new innovative ways of creating efficiencies, not just for us as the house, but also for our assets, sort of creating that value, optimizing that value. But a lot of stuff that we do, we rely on our operating partners. So, most of these assets, you said, 90 roughly, some of them are leased hotels. So, it's really hard to impose how we believe our beliefs, our values on the tenants. So we have to be aligned with our tenants and see how they are resolving this, finding their solutions. And also, but where we have very hands-on approach, we are trying to, find the best in class, see how we can, deploy it, how we can adapt it. What does it mean? Is that seamless process? Is it creating engagement with our tenants? How is it creating the value? What's the bottom line of all of it? Because at the end of the day, we need to generate income for our clients and investors. But also, on top of it, it's doing the good. Talk about ESG, sustainability, how we, what's optimization, again, what systems do we use, net zero carbon, it's all the, I think PropTech, it's an adaptation of that, it's all together at the moment, yeah.
So just for our viewers, if you can help us think about a case study, right? So something that stands out as being in your portfolio ideally, but maybe there's something outside of that is speaking to, this is where it was, this is where it is because of your influence.
Yeah, there are a few, but it's on top of my head. There's obviously, I think a few people have seen the press releases earlier a few months ago that we have partnered up with Numa. So Numa is very much a tech-enabled service department concept. So the reason why we thought about going in the JV and the structure in the vehicle with them is because we thought, okay, where's the market? Where are the trends? Where the needs of guests, of experience going forward? And we realized with the whole shortage of, personnel, sort of skill set, all the issues at the macro level.
Oh my God, there's that labor thing again.
Yeah, exactly. So we thought that who are the best partners out there, and so it was just perfect timing to find Numa, for them to find us, and it's just so we're sort of moving this vehicle forward. But I think they're all about the tech. So I think they from memory, they came to the sector, they're tech guys, and they've just realized, there's a solution we can deploy in their real estate and hospitality sector. So they're the tech guys coming to the sector as opposed to being already in the sector and thinking, what should be the next big thing? But on the main sort of example, I think Lab Tech, so the Camden market is a very good example because they've created this. It's not just about the apps; it's about the the space, the service, the tech, and collaboration. It's about creating the value for investors, operators. It's like the whole ecosystem, as we talk about, seamless ecosystem. About how do they? It's the real life case study, I think. So if you haven't been to Camden market, definitely go and have a look. But it's all about the stay, live, work, play. It's just all these things we talk about in today, particularly in a conference.
And Camden Market is pretty eclectic, right? And
absolutely.
But so this other term that's being labels and all these labels out there, this community thing. It sounds like you're embodying that and you're actually developing it so it's actually practical. Is that?
I think end of the day, we have to talk the same language as our not just our clients, but our tenants and end users of the product. We want to create inspiring product, inspiring places for people to want to live, to be, and to shop. And I think interestingly, this lab tech, what they know their clients. We'll say know your client, know your guest. So I think data. So having control, the data helps have control. Almost have this whole ownership of the vertical. So I think it's data in itself, and what lab tech have showed, it's almost a value asset on its own right. It will be interesting to see how the market moves, the whole valuation of not just the real estate, bricks and mortar, but the tech piece, infrastructure that supports it. But I think it's definitely part of the community. It's helping the generation. It's all about the generation, what they need, who are these guests and visitors. So I think it's sort of being down with the community, understanding them, and helping them to be to have access to the to the guests, to the visitors. And I think the systems, the tech, what they've created helps everyone and everything. So it's very much like we talk ecosystem. I think ecosystem is a good name for it.
It's amazing what you just said, and what I'm hearing you say is it's great about community, it's great about the assets, but you're really honed in on inside of the community, the data. Is there a reason that is evident that the valuation of assets today don't appear to have a valuation of the value of the insights from the community, thus enhancing the value of the asset? How's the market thinking about investors that you work with, banks that you work with? Is that even on their radar screen?
A lot of investors are driven by the income, by the bottom line. How does this, transforms, and what does it mean for their NOI as with their net operating income, So I think it just depends about sophistication of the clients, and also is it the market itself. How does the value? What does it mean? We start talking more actually. Well, in the last probably 2 years, we start sort of applying a social impact aspect to this. So how it's not just about financial returns, but it's also the social impact. So trying to understand some of our trustees and clients also, they understand where the world is going. They also see what's around them, and all this innovation tech. So they want us to actually invest and actually support the communities that they believe that we should be supporting. So sometimes it's not just a one-way conversation that we tell them what we should be doing. We now started hearing back and saying, well, have you thought about doing a bit of a mustard, urban rejuvenation? What's repurposing? If you're repurposing a shopping centre, what does that mean? Are you putting a bit of living into it? Social housing, what does it mean for the retailers? Are we bringing retail back? So it is a bigger picture, but I think it depends. The market is not yet, I feel, sophisticated to value it separately. I think it does create liquidity to assets. So we look at about exit. So when we buy an asset, we already start thinking about when are we going to sell it? What's the future going to be? So for us, I personally think it creates liquidity. It creates that extra marketing spiel, as we say, But otherwise, it's tough at the moment. But it's for us, it's important. We try to somehow put a price on it, but it's hard. And again, maybe it's not the right thing to put price on it, but put it under the social impact.
But it's good stewardship.
Yeah.
Right? So, in summary, when we really think about what the impact is of having great asset management, it's not just the asset manager, it's bringing life and value and bringing insight to the constituents, like the owners, like the investors, and doing it a very different way. Clearly, LaSalle is doing that, and it's inspirational. Also, we're going to be on a panel together later on, and we're going to keep this conversation going and see more about that later as we publish some more episodes of The Adapters here again at the Urban Living Festival, Canary Wharf, London.